Enough with this lazy idea that New England only got it right because of luck. Milton Williams became the living answer to every critic, and today this script goes through the defensive trenches, a possible veteran boost at the second level, an underrated weapon for Drake May, and the offensive line wound that is still bleeding. If you want to see the Patriots make the league eat its words, hit that like button and stay with me. Because this team is not asking for permission, it is demanding respect, one snap at a time. We are talking about the kind of player who destroys cheap narratives without needing some big PR campaign. Milton Williams arrived with people doing spreadsheet math, staring at that 4-year, $104 million contract, repeating the same lazy shot. You paid all that for a defender who was not even playing more than half the snaps? Well, when the football got real, when the season got tight, when the line of scrimmage turned into a war zone, he answered the way New England respects most, by driving grown men backward. And this was not some empty cosmetic answer. In the playoffs, Williams played 68% of the defensive snaps, put up 3 sacks, and brought pressure after pressure. That is the part critics try to hide when they want to shrink everything down to money. A defensive tackle's value does not only live in the clean stat line. It shows up when the opposing quarterback loses his launch point, when the guard needs help, when the offense across from him starts cutting down its own plan. Williams gave the Patriots that kind of weight when the stage did not forgive anybody. His spring comments show exactly why that contract cannot be treated like some empty gamble. He said the group is not out there playing around, that they are really working, getting the new guys up to speed, learning new things, and pushing each other the same way. That is locker room language from a team trying to come back with organized anger, not just polished quotes for a camera. And when he says the team was on the doorstep last year, that maybe 1 or 2 plays in the Super Bowl were the ones that hurt them, you hear the difference between satisfaction and real hunger. New England needs that. It needs players who carry competitive memory without becoming trapped by it. Williams already won with Philadelphia. He has felt the other side of the celebration. And now he is in Foxborough talking like somebody who understands the weight of the unit. Next to a healthy Christian Barmore, with Jeremiah Farms, Josh Farmer, Corey Durden, and Eric Gregory all fighting for space, this interior line can stop being just deep and start becoming a force that sets the entire temperature of the game. The most important line from him was direct. This defense and this team are only going as far as the front can take them. Exactly. If the Patriots control the line, everything changes. The linebackers play cleaner, the secondary can breathe, the offense gets better field position, and everybody who called Milton Williams an overpriced reach may have to swallow every heavy snap he puts on the field. That is where the conversation moves from trench violence into a question the Patriots cannot act like they do not see. Who holds the second level together if the season starts testing the depth for real? Robert Spillane is a key piece. Christian Ellis grew in the second half of the year. Good. But after that, the room still has more promise than proof. KJ Britt, Chad Muma, and Nnamdi Obiazor bring more athleticism than last year's backup group. But athleticism without experience can become a problem fast when the AFC starts attacking matchups with no mercy. That is why Mack Wilson's name makes sense back on the table. Not as some headline built to sell fantasy, as a practical solution. A 28-year-old veteran, known in New England, with physical history, recent production, and locker room presence. He has already been through Foxborough, he has already played a depth role here, and in 2023, he delivered 37 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles. That kind of player does not need to be sold as a star. He needs to be understood as a stabilizer. Look at the Arizona context. Over the last 2 seasons, Wilson played 24 games, totaled 135 tackles, 3 sacks, and 2 interceptions. He was named a captain for the first time in his career. That does not happen by accident. You do not get that kind of responsibility without voice, preparation, and respect inside the building. But the Cardinals are rebuilding. Wilson is coming off an injury. He is in the final year of his deal, and their roster may want to clear room for younger players like Cody Simon or Owen Papo. They also added Jack Gibbons, another former Patriot. The board is not screaming guaranteed trade, but it absolutely shows a crack New England should be watching closely. The aggressive part is this: if the price is something like a late-round pick swap, why would the Patriots just sit there? We are not talking about burning premium future capital. We are talking about trying to turn a thin area of the roster into a more grown-up room, a more reliable room, a room that is better built to survive injuries, rotation, and situational packages. Zach Core needs linebackers who are not just fast on paper. He needs players who can communicate, fill gaps, hit the right landmark, and not panic when the offense shifts before the snap. Wilson knows the league. He knows the jersey. He knows the kind of pressure Foxborough puts on a defender. To me, this is exactly the type of move that separates a smart team from a passive one. You do not wait for the hole to open in the middle of the season and then admit you needed a veteran. You move early. Small cost, big utility. Flip the field now, because there is one kind of mistake that should bother any fan who actually watches the details. Acting like only the guys who get headlines win games. I.J. Brown changes coverage. Romeo Doubs brings name value, production, and expectation. All of that matters. But if anyone is pushing Mack Hollins to the edge of the conversation, they are missing something basic about football. Winning offenses also need a trusted adult on third down, in the ugly blocking reps, on the route that never makes the highlight clip, and on the catch that keeps the drive alive. Hollins is 32, heading into his 9th NFL season, already on his 5th team, and still does not look disposable in this system. Honestly, it looks like the opposite. His 2 best seasons have come with Josh McDaniels shaping the offensive logic. In Las Vegas in 2022, he broke out for 57 catches, 690 yards, and 4 touchdowns. In 2025, reunited with McDaniels in New England, he produced 46 catches for 550 yards. That is not some cute coincidence. That is fit. At 6'4", 220 pounds, Hollins gives you size, reach, and physical presence. He does not need to be the receiver selling jerseys. He needs to be the guy Drake May looks for when the defense takes away the first read, when the pocket gets tight, when the play needs somebody who understands space, contact, and timing. And that is exactly what started showing up in the second half of 2025. Through the first 7 games, he had 14 catches for 119 yards. Over the next 8, he jumped to 32 catches and 431 yards. That growth did not come from nowhere. A young quarterback does not build trust like that unless he feels an answer. I.J. Brown's arrival can make Hollins even more dangerous. Demario Douglas said during minicamp that he hopes everybody doubles Brown because everyone has to watch him. Perfect. If defenses push attention toward Brown, somebody is getting one-on-one looks. And a big, veteran, disciplined receiver who is willing to block in the run game becomes a quiet nightmare for a defensive coordinator. Mike Vrabel values that too. He sees the player who sacrifices for the group. Hollins did not arrive like a spoiled star. He arrived as a team guy, putting his body into blocks, accepting the role, winning the ball when the opportunity showed up. In Foxborough, that carries weight. So I want the fan base answering the critics in the comments. Is Mack Hollins still underrated? Or has Patriots Nation already figured out he could be one of Drake May's most important safety valves? Because while other names pull the spotlight, Hollins may keep doing the work that cuts a defense open in the details. After talking about a trusted weapon for Drake May, there is no dodging the problem that almost swallowed everything: protection. New England allowed 6 sacks in Super Bowl 60 and an NFL record 21 sacks across 4 playoff games. That is not some minor technical detail. That is a red alert. You can have A.J. Brown pulling coverage, Mack Hollins moving the chains, Josh McDaniels drawing up clean concepts, but if the quarterback spends January being hunted, the season becomes survival instead of attack. That is why Jared Wilson moving back to center is one of the most important roster stories. He struggled in the postseason, just like much of the offensive line did. No point dressing that up. The group got exposed. But there is a difference between plugging a hole and putting talent back where it belongs. Wilson played center in college. The Patriots drafted him with the idea that he could be the long-term answer in the middle. But with Garrett Bradbury on the roster, he ended up playing left guard as a rookie. Functional at times, uneven at others, and still on the field for 92% of the offensive snaps. Now Bradbury is gone, sent to Chicago for a 5th-round pick, and the door is open for Wilson to take over where he has always looked more natural. At 23, he does not need to sell empty promise. He needs to turn athleticism, burst, and college experience into professional command. At Georgia, he was second-team All-SEC in 2024, seen by many as the best pure center in his class, and he ran a 4.84-second 40-yard dash at the combine, the best mark at the position. For a center, that is not decoration. That shows range, movement ability, the capacity to get to the second level, and the tools to execute blocks that change the shape of the run game. But the question that decides everything is less about testing numbers and more about leadership. A center is not just the guy snapping the ball. The center identifies fronts, communicates protections, adjusts calls, holds the middle against raw power, and builds rhythm with the quarterback. And now Wilson finally gets to work directly with Drake May, a connection that almost happened back in recruiting when both could have crossed paths at North Carolina before Wilson chose Georgia. That chemistry has to speed up, not in October, not after the sacks become a fresh scar again, right now. If Wilson refines his strength, cleans up his positioning, and becomes that control point in the middle, the offensive line gets a new face. If he does not, New England goes right back to the cruel question. How can you demand a leap from May without giving him a pocket that can survive the hit? I like the bet because the logic is there. But in Foxborough, logic only matters when it turns into a one block, clean communication, and a quarterback getting up intact after the play. Put all four stories together, and they are saying the same thing from different angles. Milton Williams is the physical answer to the critics. Mack Wilson would be a smart way to protect a thin room. Mack Hollins is the veteran who can turn attention into first downs. Jared Wilson is the bet that has to become real protection for Drake May. New England is not talking about roster charm anymore. It is talking about who can survive big games. And now I want to know, what should be the Patriots' next move to really attack this season? Drop it in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and stay right here, because Foxborough is not waiting for the league to wake up.